outside. Okay, right. We'll go for some more questions over. Yeah.
All my supporters are outside. You blame the Union Society for giving these people publicity. Don't you think it's a tad hypocritical to blame us for that when you consider this would have been a private members' event? Our intelligent members would have had a chance to debate it, the BNP would have come and left. You've publicised it across the country, you've given them oxygen, why are you possibly blaming us?
If that letter had actually gone to your office and hadn't left the building, what letter would have?
Okay, Fab, and then the last question. Yeah.
Do you not think that this whole saga could actually be the result of a slightly bigger problem actually within the NUS? I mean, we're not the only university that's actually having a problem with these no platform policies. Bath and Warwick have both said they've got problems with it. Obviously, Imperial have now disaffiliated. St Andrews want nothing to do with NUS. Edinburgh as well. UEA, I think, as well. So you've got a lot of other unis who do have a problem with the way they're being represented with NUS. I mean, within NUS, you say that we can put policy in, but you know, are we actually that well represented by NUS? I'm not entirely sure we are. And I think that's exactly what's caused this. I mean, do your representatives really know much about Durham? They keep talking about a campus. Where is this campus? Are obviously completely free to choose if they want a no-platform policy, and if that's what all their students want, fine. We haven't got one. Were your representatives actually aware of this? And, you know, are your representatives actually tailoring their responses to unis' actions based on the individual unis? Because it doesn't look like they are, and we're paying a lot of money to be affiliated to you for a very generic response.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try and be.
Can you make sure you're speaking directly into the microphone?
Yeah, I'll try and be a bit more brief as well this time. What letter would I have sent? I'm not going to say it verbatim, because I think the trouble with the last one was it was done on the hoof and in an awful hurry. I don't want to make that mistake again. But what I would have chosen to say is pretty much the case I set out before, which is about why we think that giving these people a platform presents a welfare concern, why we think there is a political, self-defeating political risk of giving the BNP a platform to encourage the debate not to go ahead. But you know, I'll come on to the oxygen of publicity, because I think this is relevant. Look, like I said initially, like I think there have been some occasions in the past where I think I've said on the record about other debating union presidents from time to time that their motivations have been about self-promotion and publicity seeking when they're invited to on this occasion, I was at pains to point out, both when I spoke to Palatinate last week and when I spoke earlier, that on this occasion, I don't think that has been the motivation in the slightest, and why you know, I've been at pains not to kind of, you know, go with all sorts of ridiculous rhetoric attacking the Union Society leadership or Anna as president. Not least, I was only here a couple of weeks ago and spoke to her then about what the intention was behind the debate, the choice of the opposition speaker, I can't remember his proposition speakers, and all the rest of it. So, so that, I don't think that's the case here. But you will always get, and probably always should get, when the BNP are given a platform anywhere really, people who are willing to turn up and protest what they stand for, what they believe and what they think. And in that context, there will always be publicity associated with it. And you could argue, in order to kind of dampen the publicity of these events, that we should just kind of allow it to take place and, you know, just let the kind of incisive debate takes place in the debating chamber and no one will really notice. But that's surely never the point of a debate, and surely we would never want to walk away or not protest when the BNP are present. And so there will always be a certain amount of oxygen of publicity associated, and that's one of the reasons, again, why I just don't think we should give them a platform ultimately. I'm not accusing the union of trying to sort of, you know, be sensationalist about what they were doing, but I do think that giving the BNP a platform in places like this does legitimise them and gives them the oxygen of publicity they would not get were we not to invite them, because we're not under any obligation to invite them, whether it's a debating society or a students' union or any other forum where we want to invite them in. And the final thing I'll just say is about NUS, and is Durham well represented in NUS. There are certainly some students' unions that aren't affiliated to NUS, although Edinburgh and UEA are. But I think you are, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I mean, I don't know whether the officers were using campus as shorthand or because they haven't been here. I've certainly been here a number of times during my time as NUS president over the years. Our vice president for union development, hiding at the back, so you don't get him. Richard, he's been here before, and I think, you know, if you look at our higher education funding policy, for example, there was a time when NUS had a higher education funding policy, which was, although I'm not sure how much it's going to help me out here, but some of you might quite like the old policy, but I'll just go for it anyway. NUS used to have a higher education funding policy which was to scrap fees for every single student in further and higher education, anyone studying at a college or a university at any level for any course, and a universal grant for every student at every college and every university and every course around £7,000, which would have cost like literally tens of billions of pounds, up to shut down half the government, and, you know, tax the rich into poverty to pay for that. And Durham was one of the first students' unions who kind of stood up and said, look, this is nuts, there's a critical debate coming forward, and put forward something which has now helped shape NUS's policy in a positive direction. And that's just one example. There are other areas in terms of tailored support where JCR presidents will be able to tell you about the intervention we've had this year alone, sort of working with them on charities registration and regulation and all of that stuff. But I do take your point about no platform policy and the extent to which it's widely supported. If it is the case that student unions up and down the country are not supporting or implementing no platform policy, then the policy is effectively useless, because one of the things that makes me kind of smile a little bit in the press is whenever there's a no platform, whenever someone appears on campus, in this case it was the LSE lecturer who's a member of Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is on the no platform policy, and the national press were kind of almost sort of gasp, saying, but how is it this guy got on LSE's campus, because NUS has this no platform policy, so we'd walk in and sort of tell the director of LSE, Howard Davis, that he has to terminate this guy's employment contract because of something that passed the NUS conference. That's not how it works. Our policy only works on the ground if members choose to implement it. And with a policy like this, which is supposed to be about building unity and support around opposing the BNP, if it's not widely supported up and down the country, the policy doesn't work. If you oppose no platform policy and you're convinced that there are lots of student unions who also agree with you on that, then talk to them, put the policy into conference, and we'll have a debate at conference again. But that's how things get decided, that's how things get done. NUS conference has not always been the best place to have any sort of intelligent debate. But one of the things I'll say is the organisation that I lead today, and will be leaving in a few months' time, is a far cry from the organisation that served me both when I was a student and when I was a student union president. And again, that's largely because of the role that student unions like Durham have played in being at the forefront of calling for it to change and modernise. And you will see the fruits of that labour when we're in Gateshead in just a few weeks' time.
Brilliant.